Senator Sen.Seery Kearney, you have 5 minutes.
Thank you very much. I'm very welcome, members of Forza. I have gone to bat against you in the WRC on many an occasion. Minister, I want to acknowledge your remarks and all the work you've done, and clearly that's felt across this House. There was a time in all of the movies that everybody smoked. In fact, they did it to promote it because that was what it looked like to be very cool. Then there were decades where there were warnings that smoking was it was a public health issue, and it wasn't believed. There were cases taken. Then we brought in and led the way on no smoking at work. Then we had to legislate for no smoking in cars. And now it would seem anathema to any parental or any child protection that there would be smoking in the face or around children. Social media and the ownership of smartphones is exactly the same. It's exactly the same. We are talking about the mental health of whole generations, not just the young generation coming up, but the people that are adults across our nation. The fact is that there is profit here. There are companies at the heart of all of this. The likes of Google that threatened the Australian state when they talked about bringing in laws. These companies are bigger than nation states. They wield power, and we have got to legislate in the interests of our people, in the interests of the mental health of our generations coming up. I just want to at this point acknowledge I work closely in this area and have done in recent months with 3 men in particular: Roderick Cowan of Security is Your Business, Aaron O'Grady of Future Horizons, and Paul McCarthy of Cybersecurity Expert. And they do a lot of talking about cognitive security, cognitive resilience, the fact that there is behaviour modification going on in the use of smartphones. There is behavioural modification going on in the use of social media, and that needs to be arrested. That needs to be stopped. We need to expose what is going on here. We need to expose the mental health implications of this. Phones are useful if you have separated parents, if children need to be contactable going home in buses, but they don't need to be smartphones. There are flip phones there. If we were to ban smartphones, there would be an immediate pivot in the production of phones towards phones to be sold for minors. It's not a fact that they all have to have smartphones. So I don't agree with this idea of a competency or a freedom of movement issue. I certainly don't agree with that. It doesn't hold up for alcohol. It doesn't hold up for other areas that we legislate for. So I don't concur with that. I agree we did have a little bit of difficulty of what minister would respond to this, who is responsible. You happen to be the most appropriate, we reckoned. But I do agree it is across a number of departments. And perhaps in actual fact from your speech and your response today, it would suggest to me that I need to continue with my in the ear of the Taoiseach about this, because we can't have digital age falling down between two stools, where Commission and Mon have a whole heap of regulatory powers and the Data Protection Commission are responsible for the processing of data, but they're too occupied in other areas to be able to take individual complaints of children being targeted. And the fact is that they are micro-targeted. There should be mandatory education. It shouldn't be just merely optional. Parents are no longer, they're not time rich, they're actually time poor. So it is up to us as a consequence to take all of the action on their part. Sponsorship should not be allowed by any of these companies. They shouldn't be allowed. In the same way as gambling and sport, and alcohol around sport, we should take the same attitude, because it is in their interests to be associated and to be child-friendly and to be promoting their own interests. But the fact is that children do have access to porn at very young ages. That was brought up by the young people yesterday. In France, parental controls are the default setting on devices. And that's where we need to be moving to. They're the sort of things that we're going to. I'm not a Luddite. I agree with smart technology being available as a resource for school projects, for education, for all of those things. The assistive technology of children with special needs, all of that is excellent. But it is this free-for-all use that we just allow to happen, and we say, oh, it'll be too difficult to legislate for. I don't agree with that. The fact is there is an onus on us to ensure that we are radical, that we are leading, that we are protecting the public health issue that is here. We need longitudinal studies. We need public health measures. We need to ensure that we are implementing measures based on these correlations. The fact is, the facts are there of depression being up, mental illness being up, the anxiety being up. All of these are correlated to the ownership of smartphones and the prevalence of smartphones. And all it is getting worse and worse and worse by year. It's too late 30 years from now to say, oh, I wish we had done. We should be leading and we should be doing it now. Thank you very much.
Senator.